Hello, my name is Gabriela Macias, life coach, and I welcome you to this video. In this video, you will find the anatomy of the human being according to Vedic psychology. Christopher Reeve was a very famous and renowned Hollywood actor during the decades of the 80s and the 90s in the last century. In 1985, he was cast to be the chief of the cavalry in filming the movie Anna Karenina. And while playing that role, he became very attracted to horse riding. The next years, he trained and participated in different competitions. And after 10 years, he was invited in 1995 to be part of a competition in a small town in Virginia. It was May 27, a sunny Saturday afternoon. Reeve arrived there, and the first thing he did was to walk through the horse trail just to examine how it would be the competition and decide how he and his new horse Buck will face the different obstacles. After that, he started warming up and the competition started. Reeve and his horse were able to jump the first obstacle, then the second one, and while trying to jump the third one, the horse just made a dry stop, catapulting Reeves, who fell head first, just across the barrier. According to Vedic psychology, the living entity, being it a human or any other kind of living entity, is a complex of three constituent parts. The first one is known as Sthula Sharira, or the physical body, which is material and subject to change. The second one is known as Sukshma Sharira, which is the psychic body, which is also material and subject to change. Its elements are the Antakarana, or inner organ, which is the very object of knowledge of Vedic psychology, then the five cognitive senses, the sound, sight, touch, smell, and taste, then the five senses of action, which are speaking with the mouth, grasping with the hands, movement with the legs, elimination with the anus, and reproduction with the genitals. And the last elements are the five vital airs known as pranas. Reeve's head was protected by a helmet, so he could not suffer any brain injury, but his neck was not protected, and he broke his first and second vertebrae. Within seconds, he was paralyzed, and he could not breathe. 3 minutes later, the paramedics arrived and took Reeve to the emergency room. His wife was not there at the moment of the accident, so she reached her husband at the hospital. The element of the psychic body that is the object of our study, practice, and strengthening is the Antakarana, known as inner organ, which is constituted by 4 parts. Manas, mind; Ahankara, the sense of I-ness, agency, and identity; Chitta, the storehouse of memories and installed programs known as samskaras; and Buddhi, the power of cognition and awareness. Reeve was submitted to different medical procedures and surgeries in order to stabilize him, save his life, and try to heal as much as possible his severe injury. He was paralyzed from neck down and was unable to breathe on his own. After several days, he could regain his consciousness and was informed on the severity of his injury. He experienced a very deep grief and started to think that he didn't want to be a burden for his family, and maybe that the best thing to do was to slip away. His wife entered his room, sat next to him, and made eye contact with him for the first time after the accident. At that moment, Reeve uttered his first words. "Maybe we should let me go." Dana, his wife, started crying, and she said, "I will support whatever you want to do, because this is your life and your decision. But I want you to know that I will be with you for the long haul, no matter what." And then she said the words that kept Reeve alive for the next 10 years. She said, "You are still you, and I love you." The most important element of the complex of the three constituent parts is the Atma. Because it is spiritual and immutable, it is the individual consciousness, and it's the essence of the human personality. And it is the source of consciousness for the Antakarana and the psychic and physical body. All these three constituent parts are what it is known as the living entities. Reeve survived 10 years after his injury. His body continued to suffer transformation just as ours. The only difference is that his body suffered a more drastic transformation because of the severity of his injury. And his mind also suffered a change and transformation. He had to do a lot of inner work in order to be able to adjust to his new circumstances. But once he was ready, he became a very active supporter for the research of a cure for the spinal cord injuries. And he wrote, he became a director, and he is still performed. But you know what? In spite of all those changes of his physical and his psychic body, he was still he, the Atma.